Hello everyone, my name is Nisha and I am the YogicAmnesiac. You'll notice we're back outside today, same setting as the last talk we did. I'm actually shooting this video immediately after I literally just hit stop on the last video, and now we're starting to record this one. So we're trying to knock them out before the holidays, get these out so you still get these on time and everything like that. So if everything looks exactly the same, that's because it is. Today we're going to talk about proper alignment. This will be another pretty short video. I'll try to do a few video overlays with a little bit of demonstration. Overall, we're going to start at the feet, work our way up to our head and our fingertips, and we're just going to talk about this from a perspective of Tadasana or mountain pose, which is going to be your basic standing pose for those of you who are beginners. So this is kind of like a tutorial on how to do a proper Tadasana while also just talking about proper alignment. So let's get started. Alright, so let's start down at our feet. You're going to want your feet about hip width apart, and you'll notice that you don't actually want your feet on the outside of your hips. People who might be a little bit curvier or who have wider hips will think that their hips are super wide, but you want to think of it more on like where your skeleton is and how your bones out in your legs will be coming straight down, vertically down out of your legs, as opposed to your feet being at the outside edge of your hips. You also don't necessarily want your feet super close together, though some yoga instructors will recommend that your feet are together. In this pose, I find it makes me a little unstable, but if you like having your feet together, absolutely go there. It is a way that is taught, so it's not incorrect. Just keep in mind every pose has its contradictions and things like that, just because of different styles and different instructors. Okay, so your feet are now hip width apart, or together, if that's what you want to do, but I'm going to speak from a perspective of hip width apart because people tend to have a little bit of issue with that. Next, you want your feet to be parallel, your toes pointing straight forward. You don't want to be pigeon-toed, and you don't want your feet facing out. Those are both actually kind of bad for your knees, so unless you have like a really bad knee issue where you can't have your feet parallel comfortably for whatever reason, try to keep your feet as parallel as you can. A lot of yoga instructors say, imagine you got your feet on some railroad tracks. The next thing you want to make sure is that you're not collapsing on the inside of your feet. You have your weight evenly distributed. You have weight on the inside of your big toe, that big pad under your little toe, on the inner heel and outer heel, so kind of, evenly distributed, and you're not collapsing in on the arch of your foot. Okay, so if your feet are good, there's a pretty good chance that your ankles are also good, but take a moment to check, make sure your ankles are straight, you're not collapsing weirdly into your ankles. You will find, though, that when your feet are really properly aligned, chances are your ankles are going to come straight out of your feet and come straight up into your knees. A next big mistake is locking your knees or hyperextending your knees or something like that. This is actually really bad for you. You can stretch out a lot of ligaments that you don't want to be stretching out, or you can just kind of mess up with your blood circulation. If you've ever heard about people in the military in formation, they will lock their knees sometimes, and then they will pass out or fall over. So be really careful about locking your knees. It's not always a good habit. Keep a little softness in the knees, not necessarily a bend, but you just want to make sure your knees are straight without being totally back or without being totally bent. You will have to play around with this, find out where that is for your body. It is kind of a personal preference kind of thing. So you'll find as we're working our way up our body, things seem to just be magically aligning themselves. That's because once you align one thing and get that down, the rest of your body is super interconnected, and you will kind of transfer that all the way up until, you get to the very top of your head and you're good to go. So next is your pelvis. You want to make sure it's not tilting or tucking forward or tilting back. If you tilt it back too far, you will have too much of a arch in your lower back, which can be really bad for you, put a lot of strain on your lower back. If you tuck too far, it's just unnecessary, and that's probably a lot of strain too. I would not recommend doing that. You want to find a nice in-between, very relaxed position while still a little bit of effort, still standing up straight and keeping that structural integrity where you will keep your abs engaged, your core is engaged, your back is doing a little bit of work. So keep that in mind, that it's not a totally relaxed pose, but you are, sort of loose Okay, next would be like the rib cage, upper back kind of area. Imagine you're standing up nice and straight. You're not pushing your chest forward super far, and we're not slouching over here. I always think roll the shoulders up and back and then relax a little. You can just relax your chest and let your shoulders do a lot of the work, it almost feels like. If you have a tendency to slouch, actually think about drawing your shoulder blades together and maybe even down your back. That can help. If you have a tendency to throw your chest forward, just relax your chest and sternum down a little bit. So next is your arms. I had an instructor who would say you do your cactus arms. You bring them kind of back and down, and you keep that shoulder blade squeezed together. This is another good way actually to help yourself stand up straight. Keeping your palms turned out, and then you can relax your palms, and you'll find your arms sort of float away from your body a little bit, which is kind of strange, but it does do that. Another way to think about it is like your upper arms are sort of turning out and forward while your forearm and hand relax inward, like you're kind of standing with your hands at your sides, but you're not, trying to turn your arms two different ways at the same time. You're just kind of opening up those shoulders a little, rolling them back, rolling those arms open, and then relax your hands. So after your arms, let's talk specifically about the elbow. It will have a gentle bend in it. It won't be perfectly straight or locked. It'll just be a nice kind of loose bend. You'll find that probably from your elbow down, everything will just be hanging. Your wrists and hands, you'll want to be just relaxed. We're not talking about bringing your arms up and overhead with your hands and blades. This is absolutely a pose where your hands can just sort of hang relaxed for a little bit, sort of like they're just hanging at your sides. Okay, so I had to stand up for this part. I started flailing around while I was sitting, so I decided standing would be way better. So next, we're going to be talking about our neck. I have a teacher who described this the best way I can think of. She would say, imagine you're holding a big, juicy grapefruit between your chin and your chest. So it's sort of this, like, tucking action you think of. Some people like to think of standing up straight and keeping your neck straight as throwing your head back and looking straight up, but that's actually not what you want to do. You want to think more about the spinal column in the back of your neck and keeping that straight. You can see that I barely tuck my chin at all to get that straight kind of thing, and for some people it might feel weird at first, but this is the same thing you would do if you were lying down on the ground in Shavasana, actually. It's just this little baby tuck of the chin to create a nice length in the back of the neck. You don't also want to put your chin totally forward, because then your spine is curving this way forward instead of just being straight. I find that as I tuck my chin, I instinctively stand up straighter too. So maybe this will also help you find a nice way to stand up straight with the rest of your body. So you may think we have reached our end, because what are we supposed to do with our head if we've already done with everything we can with our neck, since that's the joint that our head is on? But let's just think about the face really quickly. I kind of like to think of Tadasana like a standing Shavasana or corpse pose. So your face can be completely deadpan here. You get to relax every single muscle in your face, or you can give yourself a nice big smile, whatever feels good. But to relax your face, just think about relaxing your mouth, relaxing your jaw. You can touch the tip of your tongue to the back of your front teeth, which can help you relax your jaw a little bit. Let your mouth hang a little open if you want. Relax your cheeks, your eyebrows, your forehead. If you can move your ears, relax your ears and your scalp even. So just take a moment to think about all that skin that you have, and then relax all of that now. And you are in your Tadasana, which is also your alignment and your basic alignment for pretty much any pose you will be doing. So there's your video on your basic and standard alignment for pretty much anything. A lot of these will carry over into almost any pose you do, so just keep those kind of basic tips in mind when you're in any pose and you're not sure what you should be doing with a certain body part. These will carry over, you'll find, and that most poses build on other poses' alignments, so it gets easier once you know the basics. So that's the whole video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a comment down below if this was useful to you. If you have any other tips on alignments, if you feel like I missed something or anything, absolutely leave a comment down below to help our whole community here. If you liked this video and you want to see more, and especially if you want to see me explain poses in detail like this a bit more with the anatomy involved and stuff like that, absolutely give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe. It's the best way for YouTube to let you know if I've released any new videos. Namaste.